Friend, welcome back to the Media Matters, the Coven for the Curious. I'm your host, Chantel, and today we're spending time with the spirits, but not just any spirits, house spirits. If you've ever felt unsettled in your own home or wondered why some spaces just feel more alive than others, then let me be the first to tell you, you are not imagining it. And by the end of our chat today, you'll have practical ways to befriend the energy that shares your living space. I think there's something so special about the idea that our homes aren't just structures of wood and brick and plaster. They have their own unique energy, their own presence. Some people call this presence house spirits. Some call it the energy of the home. But whatever name resonates with you, learning how to connect with it can transform your relationship with the space where you spend so much of your beautiful life. Today, we'll talk about how to recognize your home's energy, how to introduce yourself, ways to nurture that relationship, setting healthy boundaries, and I will even share a simple ritual that you can try today. So let's get into it. So let's start by talking about what exactly we mean by house spirits. Across cultures and really throughout history, people have recognized that homes have their own unique energies or spirits. In Scotland, they have brownies. In Russia, they have domovoi. In Japan, they have zashiki warashi. While these traditions differ in the details, they all really recognize that our homes have a consciousness of sorts, an energy that interacts with the people living there. But you don't need to subscribe to any specific cultural tradition to experience this, trust me. Just think of your house as having its own personality. Some houses are shy, some are boisterous, and all appreciate being acknowledged. So how do you know if your home has a distinct energy? Well, there are some common signs. Maybe you've noticed small objects being moved or misplaced in ways that just can't be explained. Maybe there are temperature shifts in certain rooms that don't make any logical sense. Or maybe you just get that feeling of being watched, but in a gentle, non-threatening way, like nobody's trying to be scared here. I remember when I first moved into my current house, I found it really, really hard to be home alone. There was just this unsettled feeling that I couldn't shake, so I would try so hard to make sure I came home a tiny bit later than normal so that everyone else was home by the time I arrived. I will say I didn't feel fear exactly. It was more like I felt like an outsider, like I just could not connect with this space. And it's really the first time I had ever experienced it. The space and I really just felt disconnected, almost like, when you have that awkward eye contact with somebody at a party or at work and you're like, do I look away? Did they catch me looking? That kind of situation. If you've ever walked into a space and immediately felt welcome and at ease, or you've been somewhere so stunning and beautiful, but it just felt off despite its perfect appearance, then let me tell you, that is home or space energy at work. What I've learned is that acknowledging this energy is the first step to creating harmony in your space. It's like the difference between barging into someone's house unannounced versus knocking politely and introducing yourself or announcing yourself. A simple acknowledgement can really set the tone for the entire relationship. So how do you actually introduce yourself to your home's energy? Well, first, let me share something important that I learned the hard way. One thing that surprised me was the expectation of an immediate bond. I quickly learned that, like any relationship, connecting to your home's energy takes time, patience, and practice. When I first tried to connect with my home, I walked, or more like paced, from room to room, almost like I was looking for something, but I didn't know what. It was like the weirdest freaking feeling. Then I tried sitting in silence, expecting some profound experience, only to feel disappointed when nothing dramatic happened. But that's not how relationships work, right? We don't meet someone new and immediately share our deepest, darkest secrets. It just doesn't happen. So let me share some simple ways to start the introduction process so you do not go round and round like I did, because no one has time for that. So first up, try speaking out loud to your space. This might feel a little weird at first, but there is so much power in audibly stating your intentions. You could say something like, "Hello, I'm Chantel." Use your own name, of course. "I live here now, and I would love for us to have a positive relationship. Thank you so much for protecting me." Just keep it simple and authentic. Your house energy will appreciate sincerity over fancy words any day. Next, physical touch. This can be super freaking powerful. I have found that running my hands along the walls, the door frames, and other surfaces really creates a tangible connection. It's almost like shaking hands with your house. As you do this, focus on sending positive energy through your hands. You could imagine light or warmth flowing from your palms into the structure of your home. Next up, spend time sitting quietly in different areas of your house, just observing and sensing, just kind of taking it all in. Each room might have slightly different energy. Your kitchen might feel nurturing and social, and let's say your home office, for example, might have more focused intellectual energy. Just really get to know these different personalities within your home. So after doing some of these things, how do you know if your house is responding? Well, this is where trusting your intuition comes in. You might notice subtle feelings of warmth or welcome in spaces that previously felt neutral. You might have some vivid dreams about your home, or you might simply feel a growing sense of comfort and belonging where you once felt unsettled. Remember how I mentioned feeling uncomfortable and unsettled being home alone? Well, after a few days of consistently greeting my home, touching the walls and floors with intention, speaking to my home, and really just expressing gratitude, I noticed that feeling had completely disappeared. In its place, there was this gentle sense of companionship. Not overwhelming, just a nice, quiet awareness that I wasn't alone. The key is consistency. And just like any new friendship, regular positive interactions build trust over time. So you've introduced yourself, you've spoken gratitude, you've rubbed down every surface with your yummy little hands. Now what? Look, I am so glad you asked because now it's time to start nurturing your relationship with your home's energy. And just like with human relationships, small gestures of appreciation go a really long way. One of my favorite ways to honor house energy is by bringing fresh plants into the space. Plants bring literal life force energy into your home, and they serve as a physical symbol of your commitment to nurturing the space. Plus, let's face it, they naturally clean the air and bring beauty, so win-win. A lot of traditions also suggest leaving small offerings for house spirits. So they don't need to be elaborate. We're talking a small dish of honey, a shiny coin, or even just a beautiful stone or crystal placed in a really special spot can work beautiful wonders. Fresh water is another classic offering that's appreciated across so many cultures. For this, you could just place a small bowl of fresh water in a quiet corner of your house and just make sure that you refresh it regularly. Another offering of sorts is adding new decor. This could be new art for the walls, pictures of your friends and family, new pillows for the couch. You get the idea. I look at these as anchors of sorts, something you bring in that's part of you and now part of your home. Something that's often overlooked but incredibly powerful is really just taking good care of your physical space. By that, I mean regular cleaning done with intention, not resentment. This really shows respect for your home. As you clean, you could say something like, "I'm clearing away dust and bringing fresh energy into the space." This really transforms a chore into an act of relationship building. And let us not forget the power of verbal appreciation. Just saying thank you out loud to your home for keeping you safe, comfortable, and sheltered can really strengthen your connection. So how can you tell if your home is receiving these offerings well? Well, pay attention to the overall feeling in your space. Does it feel lighter? Does it feel more welcoming? Do you find yourself smiling more often when you're at home? These subtle shifts in mood and atmosphere are often signs that your relationship is developing in such a beautiful and positive way. I've really found that the more consistent I am with these practices, the more responsive my home seems to become. There's a flow to our interaction now, a mutual support that wasn't there in the beginning. My plants seem to grow better, I sleep more soundly, and creative ideas come more easily when I'm in my space. Of course, it's important to remember that this is a reciprocal relationship. Your home provides shelter and safety for you. You provide care and acknowledgement for it. When both sides are giving, that's when the magic really happens. Now, before we move on, I want to talk about some super simple ways that you can connect with your home's energy every single day. These are little practices that just take a moment, but can make a big difference in building your relationship. First up, the morning greeting. So when you wake up in the morning, you could simply say good morning to your space before you do anything else. Next, threshold acknowledgement. For this, each time you return home, just pause at the doorway for a minute and silently or verbally acknowledge that you're entering your shared space. Next up, light a candle. Even if you do this for just a few minutes while you have your morning coffee or your evening tea, lighting a candle signals presence and attention. Next up, fresh air exchange. For this, open a window for a few minutes every day and say something like, let's refresh our energy together as the air is circulating. Next on our list, touching doorways. As you pass through doorways in your home, just lightly touch the frame as a quick hello to your home structure. My next tip, kitchen gratitude. For this, just thank your kitchen before or after preparing food. Kitchens are especially responsive to appreciation. Next up is nighttime gratitude. So before you go to sleep, just whisper a quick thank you to your home for sheltering you another day. Next, musical offerings. For this, just play music in your home that's uplifting, that brings good, happy energy and vibes and all of the wonderful things. Music is so incredible and it has the most magnificent way of just changing frequency. Next, small beauty spots. For this, you can create tiny beauty moments in overlooked areas. And by that, I mean a small flower in a bathroom, a pretty crystal on a windowsill. You get it. Last up, celebration inclusion. This one was new for me, but I think the idea is really cool. So during holidays or celebrations, verbally include your home's energy in the festivities. You could say something like, we're celebrating today and I wanted to include you in our joy. Super simple, but incredibly effective. What I really love about these tiny practices is that they take almost no time in your day, but they build a consistent thread of connection. It's kind of like sending quick text messages to a friend throughout the day. Each one is small, but together they create a meaningful ongoing conversation with your home. Now let's talk about something equally important, and that is boundaries. So just because you're building a friendly relationship with your home's energy doesn't mean you shouldn't have clear expectations and boundaries. In fact, like any healthy relationship, good boundaries just make for better interactions. The most straightforward way to establish boundaries is through clear verbal communication. Just state out loud what you're comfortable with and what you're not. For example, if you feel energy or activity in your bedroom and it's disrupting your sleep, you might say something like, I appreciate your presence in this home, but I need this bedroom to be peaceful at night so that I can rest. Please keep playful energy to the living areas, or whatever words you choose. Using sage, palo santo, or other cleansing herbs can help clear stagnant energy and reset boundaries. So I like to think of sage clearing as refreshing the energy instead of just banishing anything all the time, you know? As you move through your space with sage or the cleansing herb of your choice, state your intentions clearly. You could say, I'm clearing the space to create fresh, positive energy that supports both of us, or something along those lines. You might also want to create energetic boundaries in specific areas of your home. Maybe your home office needs to maintain focused energy, or maybe you have a meditation space that you'd like to keep especially peaceful. For this, you can use visualization to create these boundaries. So just imagine a gentle bubble of light around these spaces that maintains their specific energy. Now, what about when things get a little mischievous? Maybe items are being moved more than you'd like, or activity is happening at inconvenient times. Address this just as you would with a roommate or anyone, respectfully but firmly. Just like you wouldn't let a roommate borrow your favorite sweater without asking or take your car without asking, it is perfectly okay and acceptable to set limits with your house spirit or your home's energy. So you might say something like, I notice things in my desk area are being moved around, and while I appreciate your playfulness, I need my work items to stay where I put them. I have found that setting these kinds of clear, reasonable boundaries actually strengthens my connection with my home's energy rather than diminishing it. There is a mutual respect that develops when both entities know where they stand. Another idea is to designate a specific area where playful energy is permitted to be or welcome. If you're experiencing mischievous activity, try creating a small shelf or a corner somewhere where you specifically invite that kind of interaction. You might place some interesting objects there and say aloud, this is a space where you're welcome to move things and express yourself. I will notice what happens here and appreciate your presence. The key with all boundary setting is to be respectful but very clear. If something feels genuinely uncomfortable, you have every right to address it directly and to ask for change. Now, all of that said, I would love to share a really simple home blessing ritual that you can try today to strengthen your connection with your house energy. One of the things I really love about this is that it's powerful while still combining a few key elements like intention setting, acknowledgement, offerings, and presence. The ritual works because it engages multiple senses and creates this formal moment of connection between you and your home, which I really, really like. It's like the difference between casually meeting someone versus sitting down for a proper conversation. They both have value, but the dedicated time definitely creates a deeper bond. What makes this ritual especially effective is that it combines physical elements like touch, light, and water with your spoken intentions. And I really find that this multisensory approach helps to bridge the gap between the physical world we inhabit and the energetic realm where house spirits tend to dwell. The most important aspect of performing this ritual isn't getting the steps perfectly right, which I think you know by now it never is. It's about approaching it with genuine intention and an open heart. House spirits respond much more to sincerity than to elaborate ceremonies or any kind of fancy tool you try to throw at them. What's wonderful about this is how adaptable it is. So whether you're in a spacious house, a cozy apartment, or even a temporary space like a dorm room, the core elements are going to be just as effective. The home's energy responds to your attention regardless of the size or permanence of your living situation. This ritual is particularly powerful during transitional times too. So think after you've just moved in, or following an argument or a conflict in your home, when the seasons change, or when you're going through personal transitions. It really helps to reset and reharmonize the energy, which I really find creates a fresh foundation for your relationship with your space. I will say that I recommend performing this ritual during a quiet moment when you feel centered and present, maybe in the early morning or evening when the energy of your home feels the most settled. You're really just going to need a few simple things that you likely already have in your home. So if you're ready to try this simple and magical ritual, then you, my friend, are in luck because I created a detailed step-by-step guide, which you can find in the companion blog post for this episode. The link is in the show notes, and it includes all the specific steps, suggested words, timing recommendations, and even some optional elements you can add to personalize your experience. Whether you're in a new home and wanting to establish a connection, or you're in a long-term living situation where you'd like to refresh and deepen your relationship with your space, this ritual can be a beautiful turning point in how you experience your home environment. My friend, we have covered some serious ground today. We've talked about recognizing your home's unique energy, making those first introductions, building the relationship through offerings and appreciation, setting healthy boundaries, and even some daily practices that you can start incorporating right away. Remember that, like any meaningful relationship, your connection with your home's energy will deepen over time. Don't be discouraged if you don't feel dramatic changes overnight. The subtle shifts in how comfortable, creative, and at peace you feel in your space are the real measures of success. I would love to hear about your experiences connecting with your home's energy. If you are good to share, then please drop me a message on Instagram or leave a comment on the blog post. Has your home always felt alive to you, or is this a new concept you're exploring? Regardless, I am excited for you to develop this beautiful relationship. Friend, I would love to support you on your magical journey, so send me your topic suggestions, questions, or even requests for prayers and good vibes. I am here for you. Don't forget to check out the companion blog post for the detailed home blessing ritual and even additional tips for connecting with your house energy. The link is in the show notes. Join our Magical Insider community linked in the show notes for weekly magical tips, monthly newsletters, exclusive announcements, and so much more. Until next time, this is Chantel with The Media Matters, wishing you a sacred space where both you and your house spirits thrive together. See you next time.